since it's time. Okay, so in the first session, as in the recorded session, I have already given you an insight to the subject, just to give you a feel and motivation for digital image processing. This subject has its own prerequisites, since you already studied signal processing, DSP, and of course maths is the mother of science. So you have studied all these subjects. And since you're in 7th semester now, the next thing what you'll be doing is you have to do your project. You're excited about your future career. You will be studying a lot of applicative subjects in this semester, and one of them is digital image processing. So all of you like to take a photo, and you have seen maybe in Instagram or Snapchat, and there lot of filters, and you had fun with it, yes or not? Right? Yes, you had fun applying filters to your images, right? So all these filters arise because of the intake, or because of the lot of advancements in digital image processing, not limited to specific area, but digital image processing has any field you speak of. Digital image processing has its applications. So I hope you can see this slide on the what is the slide. So what you can see, the image there is of your electromagnetic spectrum. So if you can recall, right? So an electromagnetic spectrum. So why I'm speaking of electromagnetic spectrum today is because the principal energy source for image in use today is the electromagnetic spectrum. Of course, you can use, we can even do imaging of sounds, like how you do ultrasound scanning and electron microscopy and so on and so forth. The principal source of energy for image is the electromagnetic spectrum, and I'm sure you're familiar with the spectrum. So starting from gamma rays, that is the least wavelength, to the radio waves, that is the highest wavelength. And the one which you see, the human vision is can perceive, the eyes of humans can perceive, is nothing but the visible light. Agreed? So the Vibgyor, right, as we say, from the violet to the red. So we have the gamma rays in the electromagnetic spectrum, then you have the X-rays, then the UV rays, then the visible light, then the IR and the radio waves. Okay, so so as I told you, the digital image processing has its impact in every technical endeavor. So let us develop a basic understanding of the extent in which this digital image processing is applied, or its applications. So based on the source, is that fine? So are we good to go? So shall we proceed? Okay. So of course, all of you, I think at least once in life have got an X-ray scan, or maybe, I hope not, but most of us like have got an X-ray scan or so. So that is also an image, right? Okay, so of course, as I told you, the other important sources of energy will include the acoustic, the ultrasonic, the electronic microscopy, especially. So there are even images generated by computer. So this is something outside the electromagnetic spectrum. Currently, we'll mainly focus on the electromagnetic spectrum, though most of the things which you see will be in the visible light. You can also think of many applications in the wide range of electromagnetic spectrum. So today's class is going to be only understanding the various applications. So let us briefly describe how in which they applied. Fine. So all of you know this spectrum. So here to see the difference compared to the previous figure and this figure is that you can see that the electromagnetic spectrum is arranged according to the photon, right? That is the energy per photon. So the gamma rays have got the highest energy, and the radio waves have got the least energy in terms of photon or electron volt, right? So what is an electromagnetic spectrum, electromagnetic wave? If you go back to physics, we speak in terms of wave and we speak in terms of particle, right? So yes or no? Yes. Can you put something in the chat box? Are you able to follow what I'm trying to tell? How image produced by computer is out of range? No, image produced by the computer is not out of the range. it's not out of the range of electromagnetic spectrum, but we are mainly focusing on the band. Okay, so I'll come to the synthetic images produced by the computer. That's a little different to do. Okay, so any other something like that? We'll come to it. Today it's going to be a very broad way in which we are going to study the subject. Okay, so I'm seeing the chat box in the mobile as I cannot switch the screen here in the computer. Okay, so electromagnetic waves. So most of you really love physics. So these waves are nothing but propagating sinusoidal waves, okay, of varying wavelengths. So what is the wavelength of the visible light? Just put it in the chat box if you have remember just now what I said. So what is the range of wavelength for your visible light? Put it in the chat box. Let's see. Did you remember or not? I just told now. How many nanometer? Yes, good. Yes, good, good. Wow, that's nice. Good. So that is what you see, right? So we say whatever you see is not what's really there in the world, right? So there's something more than what we can just see from our naked eye, right? So electromagnetic waves are the propagating sinusoidal waves of varying wavelengths, or even if you can think of in terms of stream of massless particles, right? So each traveling in a wave-like pattern, and they move at the speed of light. So you know the speed of light. Can you type the speed of light in the chat box? What's the speed of light? I'm going to make it interactive. I'm watching the chat box also in my mobile. So what's the speed of light? If you can type. Very good, very good. Lovely students. I'm enjoying this. Actually. Nice, nice, good, good. It's all right. All the answers are correct. And of course, each mass, good, good. Yes, yes. All are right. All are right. Yes. Somehow type little mistake. No, it's all are correct. Good. Yes, good, good, good. Thumbs up to all my students. Yeah, I love this match. Okay, so each massless particle contains a certain amount of energy, right? So of course, all these waves have some energy, right? So each bundle of energy, we call it as a photon, correct? Yes. So we are going to use this concept that the wave has got some energy to extract and generate images. So let us start and today's application. So the first thing in the electromagnetic spectrum is the gamma ray, and using gamma ray we can do the imaging. So the main applications of gamma ray imaging comes in nuclear medicine and astronomical observations. So what do you see here in front of you? It's actually, can you see an image in front of you? Yes, it's a complete bone scan. It is obtained using the gamma ray imaging. This is not an X-ray. So this X-ray will speak next. So this is the gamma ray imaging, and what you can see here is an example of a complete bone scan obtained by using the gamma ray imaging. So here, when we speak of nuclear medicine, we call it nuclear medicine because we are using a radioactive isotope. And that radioactive isotope is injected to the patient. And what happens is when this isotope it emits gamma rays as it decays. It's when what is decaying? It's losing its energy. So as its amplitude of energy is decaying, it is going to emit the gamma rays. Okay. So when these gamma rays are emitted, so we have this gamma ray detectors. So this gamma ray detectors. So these images are produced by the emissions collected by the gamma ray detectors. So it's not about imaging only in the visible light. So gamma ray imaging is also there. So what you can say here is by using this gamma ray imaging, it's used in the nuclear medicine. It's called nuclear medicine because of the use of radioactive isotope. So since that is emitting the gamma rays. Sounds nice, right? So how imaging is done in the gamma ray imaging. So of course you can, what happens is the person or the expert, so they can see this image and definitely, they can use it to find the, location of the tumor or whether the person is affected or infected or has some tumor. So basically to locate the sites of bone pathology, such as infections or tumor, such a nuclear medicine application plays a huge role. Okay, so that's a thumbs up. So next, coming to the same gamma ray imaging, there's another technique called as positron emission tomography. Does anybody know what is a tomography or heard of what's a tomography? If anyone knows what's a tomography, or of course you can Google it, but still, if you know what's a tomography, you can think of it, you can put it in the chat box later. So so what you can see here is the image of a tumor in the brain and also in the lungs. So which is easy. You can see some white mass. Can you observe the white mass in the image? I'll come to tomography. Can you see that white mass in the image? Yes, it's a cancer scan, correct? Yes. What you can see is a white mass. Can you see the white mass in the brain, right? Yes, yes, you can see that white mass in the brain. So this image shows a tumor in the brain, and also can you see the one in the near the lungs? Okay, so all this are easily visible using the gamma ray imaging. So here the application is known as a positron emission tomography. So generally to speak, though I'm not a doctor or a pathologist, so tomography basically refers to getting the image of a cross section. Okay, so getting a cross-sectional image and using that, the experts or pathologists can have a study, right? So agreed. So you can, if you are interested, you can go and check these applications. What is a tomography and all? CT scan, PET scan. So all this T stands for tomography. Okay. So what happens here is a lot of physics is involved, right? So when a positron, okay, you know what's an electron, proton, you know all this, what's a nucleus, what is an electron, what is a proton, you know what is a positron, all that you have studied in your physics, right? Yes. So when a positron meets an electron, so they become annihilated and gamma rays are given off. So basically they are detected using appropriate detector, and this is how image or a tomographic image is generated using the basic principles of tomography. So basically what is happening is, if you do you know how gamma ray tube is, so I'll just give you a brief of it. So basically it will have a cathode. I've not put it here in the slide. So it will have a cathode and an anode. Okay. So we need to give some energy to the cathode. So when the cathode is excited, some energy is provided to the cathode. So it will emit some electron, and it is moving towards the anode. So cathode and anodes, okay, they are the so when that it emits some energy. So when a positron, so it will generate a positron. So it will meet, when it meets the electron, basically the nucleus of an electron, so both are annihilated and gamma rays are given. So using this, this is detected by the gamma ray detector, and such an image is obtained. It's a wonderful thing to explore more. So if you're interested to know more about this kind of imaging, please Google for more details. I hope you're getting fascinated. Let me see. Are you getting fascinated with how things are happening in gamma ray imaging? If you're fascinated, I request you to go back later. You can take some points, and you can Google more about it. So today I'm just going to tell you the applications, the fields in which image processing is used. And I know you'll definitely be excited because some of you plan to even take up image processing projects, right? Okay. So what you see here is, again, in the application in the Astro, right? So what you can see is a Cygnus loop. Okay, so the left one, I'm speaking of two images you can see in front of you. The left one is your Cygnus loop. So if you're interested in astrophysics and all, you may be knowing that the Cygnus loop it's actually a supernova. So it got bursted 15,000 years back actually, but those radiations were available in the nature, and people were able to use gamma ray imaging. I know I cannot go on telling the exact details, but if you're interested in such things, you can Google again. So the Cygnus loop, which was a supernova, which got it just vanished, or it blasted, or whatever happened. So some years, many 15,000 years ago, and they were able to capture that supernova image using the gamma ray imaging. So it's really, you feel so fascinated when so much of technology is involved to study the nature, right? Okay. And the right thing, of course, it doesn't look so neat image here, but that is, these reactors are available, nuclear reactors are available. So the gamma radiation that was emitted from a reactor, so the white bright spot, what you can see in front of you, is the gamma radiation from the reactor wall. But Cygnus loop is going to be exciting because you'll come across this example again and again. Okay, I'll tell you why sooner. Okay, so basically we understood that gamma ray imaging has got major application in medicine as well as in the astro, right? So the next, which these kind of images you're well aware of, that is your X-ray imaging, right? So the X-ray is among the oldest sources of your electromagnetic radiation used for imaging. Okay, so definitely when you speak of X-ray, the first thing comes in mind is your when you go and can you? What happened? Anybody wants to speak something? So, of course, X-ray is imaging is among the oldest sources of electromagnetic radiation that is used for imaging. So, what you can see here is your chest X-ray, correct? Yes or no? Can you see a chest X-ray there? Yes. Okay. So, this is one of the application wherein its use X-ray imaging is used for medical diagnostics. Of course, other than medical diagnostics, it can also be used in industry and other areas such as astronomy. Okay. So if you're interested to know more about how the X-rays are generated using an X-ray tube, if you do, you know how, or if anybody knows, can put it in the chat box. Or else I request you to explore a little more about how, same just like how your gamma ray imaging is done. So similarly, the X-ray imaging, so X-ray tubes are there. So people say, right, that don't get too much of X-ray scanning done because the energy of the X-ray is very high, right? So the X-ray tube, so the X-ray, the rays, okay, they have very high energy, as I showed you in the the energy per volt or the photon diagram basically of the electromagnetic spectrum. I told you that it's a high energy, but of course X-ray imaging finds high application in medical diagnostics, right? So what you say is that of a chest X-ray. So if you're interested, you can Google more about how X-ray is generated, about the principles, how that. So basically, when some energy is sent from the tube, the person will absorb some radiation, and some of the radiation is transmitted through the human body, and that is projected on the thin film or the X-ray film, and this is how the X-ray imaging is generated. This is something I spoke in a very layman language. If you're interested more about it, you can definitely Google. Okay. So also it is used in angiogram, so aortic angiogram. So what you can see here is an image of an aortic angiogram. So here the principle used is known as something known as contrast enhancement radiography. So what it's done is here small, something like a tube, okay? So it's called a catheter. So X-ray contrast medium is injected through a tube. So what you can see in the below left, you can see like a tube, right? So that through the tube, X-ray contrast medium is injected through the tube. Can you see that to the left below in that image, like a tube? Okay. So through the tube, and X-ray contrast medium is injected, and using the concept of contrast enhancement. So what is a contrast generally? So you can see darker and lighter. So your the blood vessels, it will absorb according to its its physics or its chemistry, its chemical properties. It will attract, it will what will tell, absorb some of the radiation, and resulting in contrast enhancement. Okay, so some of them appear darker, some of them appear lighter. So the experts, especially they are known as the radiologists, they're able to see if there is any irregularity or blockages in the using this image of aortic angiogram, so that they can suggest if the person has got a blockage in the artery or so, and they can suggest if the person has to go through some operation or what is that called, surgery. Okay. So I hope this is something to get motivated about an X-ray imaging, right? So what you can see here next is an image of a CT scan. Okay, so what you can see here is that of a cat, or we call it as a CT means computerized tomography, or we also call it as a computerized axial tomography. So when I say tomography, I told it is about a cross-sectional area. We are getting some images in some section of the human, human body. So here the actual axis or the actual section is captured. So when we say a CT scan here, it shows or exhibits some sort of 3D capabilities. Okay, so basically each cat image is like a slice, correct? So taken perpendicular, that is an actual axis, okay, through the patient. And to generate this 3D sort of capacity, of course, you may not see exactly here. So each the cat image, okay, is a slice taken perpendicularly through the patient, and many such slices, okay, one above one slice, one below the other, or one above the other. So numerous slices are generated. And how the do you anyone have seen how the person is made to sleep and pass through a CT scan? Are you aware of how such a thing is done? If yes, just put some chats. Have you seen such images, or do you know how this a CT scan is done? Correct, right? So basically a person is made to pass through a CT scanner. Okay, so basically when the person is passed through the scanner, so numerous slices are generated as the patient is moved in that direction, move in the longitudinal direction. You're quite made to sleep, you might have seen in movies also, right? So you're made to sleep, and you're made to move in a longitudinal direction. So why this is done is because in different sections of the brain, the slices are nothing but that X-ray is passed, like that energy, X-ray photon, or the X-ray energy is passed in the various sections of the patient. And using some technique, they will ensemble or such images, and they'll constitute a 3D projection of the inside of the body. Or here this example is that of the head. Okay, so of your brain, not head, the brain, or what you call it as a CT scan, head CT scan, correct? So I think you are aware of this already, but still, okay. So this makes X-ray imaging all the more exciting because of the tomography and the 3D capabilities, right? So what do you see here? Of course, you can do the X-ray imaging was intensively used before, now also to some extent for electron circuit boards. So what they do is this processor, or the microprocessors and all, when they are fabricated, and they want to see if there are some flaws or some missing components, or there is any connectivity problem or something like that. So using X-ray imaging, to some extent they are able to detect these flaws in the manufacturing. Okay, so this is also one of the application of X-ray imaging. So sounds exciting, right? So can someone tell me what this image is? So I'll pause for a while. I'm talking. What could this be? I told that time that we are going to see an image of the same thing in a different band. What could this be? This is the famous Cygnus loop. Okay. Do you remember I just showed you in the other imaging? What was the other imaging wherein which I showed a Cygnus loop? Type. Yes. Did it look the same? Very good. I'm seeing nice response. Did it look the same? No. Yes. Cygnus loop. Okay, so this is the same Cygnus loop, but the imaging is done using the X-ray imaging. Nice, no? This looks nice, no? Yes, it's very fascinating, especially who love astroinformatics and such stuff. Really exciting. No. Oh, that it doesn't look the same as gamma ray imaging. Yes, X-ray imaging looked a little better now, I feel. You'll see the same image again. Okay, I'll ask you this question in other bands. So we checked now about the gamma ray imaging and the X-ray imaging. Okay. So again, yes, that's a Cygnus loop. Okay. So coming to the next band, let us go to the imaging in the ultraviolet band. So this ultraviolet band has got applications in lithography, industrial inspection, microscopy, lasers, biological imaging, again astronomical observations, just like we saw in the gamma and X-ray imaging, it has, every band has its own range of applications. Okay. Okay. So, in especially when it comes to ultraviolet band, there's something known as fluorescence microscopy, which people use, because this ultraviolet. So, to the visible light is in the 400 nanometer to the 700 nanometer range. Just before that comes your infrared, and just before that comes your ultraviolet. Yes or no? Yes. Okay, so they use some concept known as fluorescence microscopy, wherein this ultraviolet rays, so they are, that, or you call it as UV rays, very popularly the short form is the UV rays. So they are, that energy, the UV ray energy, UV rays, that photon is projected onto fluorescence material, and some energy is generated to basically the energy. See, I told you that the gamma ray has more energy compared to the radio wave. Yes. So as you go from gamma ray to the radio wave, the energy keeps on reducing. So to increase the energy, so fluorescence is closer to your visible. Okay, of course you can see a fluorescence, right? You have seen fluorescence colors, yes or no? Very, what is that called, it gaudy, you call it gaudy sometimes, right? So you know what's the fluorescence, right? So it's closer, it's in your visible light. So your fluorescence and your ultraviolet we can't see, so these two are used in combination. So fluorescence and ultraviolet can be used in combination, and they generate, they use this concept known as fluorescence microscopy. So if you're interested to know more about this, you can explore. So using this also, they the ultraviolet band imaging is done. Okay, so if you want interested more about this, you can explore. Other than that, coming to biological imaging, so what you can see here is that the image of a normal corn and a corn infected by smut. So smut is a kind of disease. So you might have heard that image processing is used to detect diseases in crops, or in, plants and so on. Of course, in visible light also you can do. So people have found ultraviolet also to be useful. If you go to the Western countries, corn is a major source of, it's a staple food kind of, right? So how we have rice and wheat, corn is also a staple food. Okay. So they find it very useful to use ultraviolet band imaging to detect, okay, is whether corn is infected by smut or not. So this application was greatly used previously, almost it's been almost a decade now. But this is very, what happened? Yeah. Okay, so this is very much used. Okay, so to detect whether a corn is infected by smut or not. So this is one of the application of ultraviolet band. Okay, what do you think this is now? What do you think this is now? This image, again an ultraviolet band, but very good. Yes, it's again the same Cygnus loop, but it's now in the ultraviolet. So we saw the same Cygnus loop in the gamma, we saw in the X-ray, and now we are seeing in the ultraviolet band. So again the same Cygnus loop. Okay. So this is why Cygnus loop is shown here, is just to give you a feel that in the different electromagnetic spectrum band ranges, the imaging appears differently for the same application, or for the same phenomenon. Okay, good. Okay, so we are done with 3 of them. So let's go closer to the visible. So why we are speaking in this image, in this slide, as imaging in the visible as well as the infrared band, is because infrared and visible we can use in together, because infrared is very close to the visible band. So of course the imaging in the visible band, it outweighs by far all the others, basically in terms of the breadth of application, right? So of course we people like more of we use, not like, of course, if you're doing a lot of projects, you can use any other spectrum X-ray images, and also you can do the processing and find out some abnormalities and do a lot of stuff in other electromagnetic spectrum range also. But The one which you use in day-to-day life, as I told, the filters and all, is in the visible range. Okay, other than that, okay, so that's something which you use. Other than that, things which are available is that of a light microscopy. A light, when I'm speaking of the visible light. Okay, so what you see in front of you is light microscopy. Microscopy is, you know what's a microscope, right? So you can zoom kind of. When I say 250x means the image is zoomed 250 times. In normal language we say 40x, 60x, and so on. So using the light microscopy, so what you see images here is that of examples of light microscopy images. So you can see of that of anti-cancer agent Taxol. Okay, if you are not interested, it's okay. Next is of a cholesterol. So what you can see in the top row, the second one, the second image is that of a cholesterol. I don't think you could have imagined that, right? So this is done using light microscopy, where you can see the image of a cholesterol. Next is that of a microscopy. Then there are some other examples here of a nickel oxide, then how an audio CD looks, then a superconductor, and so on and so forth. Such images are shown here, wherein a light microscopy is used. Then to make it more interesting, so the visible and the infrared bands are also used in remote sensing. Okay, how it is used in remote sensing? Anyone can tell? So remote sensing, when we speak, one of the focus is the satellite, right? Yes or no? Right? Have you seen a satellite image? Definitely yes. But yes or no? Have you seen a image from a satellite? You will be seeing a day-to-day life. Yes? Yes, definitely, definitely. Yes, good. I'm really happy that you people are responding so well. Yes, yes, good. Okay, so I'll be showing images in the next slide, next slides about NASA's Landsat satellite images. But to understand what is a Landsat, Landsat is an example of a remote application of remote sensing. So NASA uses something known as Landsat. Landsat means a satellite image of the land or Earth. Okay, so Landsat, to speak in a general term. So this Landsat obtains that it's a NASA's Landsat satellite. Actually, the satellite will obtain the images of the land. Okay, so obtains and transmits images of the Earth from space. Okay, so why do we need that? Why do we need Landsat? So basically for purpose of monitoring environmental conditions and how lighting is done. So environmental conditions you'll get to know. You'll also get to know actually even the population concentration also. We'll come to that little later. But it is definitely used for monitoring. The major purpose is the monitoring the environmental conditions. So what you can see here is the table. So on table you can see different bands numbers are given 1 to 7, and you can see here that the wavelengths are given in terms of visible blue, visible green, visible red, and also the near infrared, middle infrared, thermal infrared, shortwave infrared, and so on. Basically, that is why I said we are going to use a combination of visible and infrared bands. Okay, so the different bands are used for different purposes or uses. I think you can see in the rightmost column of the table, wherein what is its characteristics. So visible blue has, of course, the maximum water penetration. So to find out about from the top satellite images, if you're using the visible blue spectrum, you can find out about the presence of water, right? So like that. So basically you're understanding the characteristic of this light in terms of its wavelength and energy, and using that study we are going to use it for a suitable application. Okay, same way for green. Of course, when we speak of green, the plant the green in color, their leaves, because of its properties. So we can use a plant, you can use it to measure the plant vigor. Same way, so many other stuff. So near infrared, middle infrared, so on and so forth. So maybe for understanding the soil moisture, Also, we can do thermal mapping. Have you seen thermal images, any of you? I think most of you have seen a thermal image, yes or no? Have you seen thermal images? Yes, yes, yes. Very good, very good. So you've seen thermal mapping. So thermal mapping can be done. So that is in the infrared again, thermal infrared. So it has its own wavelength that you can see here. Okay. So what you can see here is the image. It's a Landsat satellite image of Washington DC. Sorry, I don't have that of our country now here. I didn't take one. Anyway, I took this from the what was available in the textbook actually. So the numbers, I told you in the table that there are 7 bands which are numbered 1 to 7, right? Starting from the blue to the infrared, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 images are there. So the same region, okay, the same region, that is the Washington DC area, using the different, different bands, these images were captured. So this is the image is Washington DC. So I don't know whether you can see clearly, but the roads, the buildings, the vegetation, rivers, everything, depending on the different bands used, okay, different regions and different statistics could be gathered, or different information could be analyzed. Okay, so different bands, it has its own characteristic and use. So what you can see here again is that, of course, you can use the visible and infrared band for imaging of the population centers, okay, to access the population growth, shift patterns, also pollution, okay. So remote sensing can be used to find out the pollution level and other factors affecting the environment, okay. So weather observation. So what you can see here is the during 2005, okay, this is an old image. You can, of course, if you Google, you can find latest image. Definitely, if you're watching TV, you can, in the climate update or weather forecast, have you seen these images? Definitely. Weather forecast images, have you seen? Definitely you've seen, right? Yes, yes, yes. Very good. So what you see is that of Katrina, okay, not actress, but the Hurricane Katrina. It was taken on August 29, 2005. So they were able to. So Katrina is a very, very harmful, very powerful, and it can destroy. It can destroy land and property and buildings. So by detecting, using remote sensing and detecting this hurricanes well in advance, analysis can be done and precautions can be taken. So this is one of the application of this visible and infrared bands, okay. So basically for weather observation. So definitely image processing and imaging, basically what we are seeing is imaging, and by getting these images, if you can process and gather some analytics or do some image analysis, of course, if you can do deep learning or machine learning and so on and so forth. I've explained a brief of this in the first video. So we can do a lot of stuff, right? Definitely it's an exciting field to look for. So yes, what you can see in front of you is the infrared, okay. So what you saw before had a combination of infrared and visible, near infrared and visible. So next is the infrared satellite image of America. Don't feel sad, we'll have a Indian image also in the next slide. So infrared satellite image of the Americas. I think this image also you have seen. So this imaging is lights, right? Lightings, right? So light images, lights, how at night, okay, at night, how the world looks with just lightings, without sunlight, okay. So that imaging done using the infrared satellite image. So what you see here are not the blue one, okay, the black background and the white one. The blue one is just to give you a feel that it is of the North America and South America. So next you have of Africa, and downmost to the right, what you see is, we can see Indian image also. Can you see? Okay. So the imaging of the rest of the world. So infrared satellite image of the remaining populated parts of the world. Okay. So this is what you can see, right? Also, lot of applications of visible and infrared. So what you can see is so many manufactured goods are produced in the factories. And if you want to know, so suppose why I show some pills here, medicine. that by imaging or using the visible light or the visible spectrum, we can do inspection of manufactured goods. We can find out whether some whether some the tablet or your what you call it as a, what is that tablet uh, this pills cover what you get, whether any tablet is missing from the packet or so on. And even some different ranges of, we are not directly using the full infra visible light spectrum, but we can use a part of it, and we can detect whether the, in a second image, what you can see is whether the bottle is half filled, full filled, if you cannot see from outside. So some analysis can be done. If air bubble, so in plastic packaging, if air bubbles or water bubbles are present, so such kind of applications. Also in forensics, it's used your fingerprint. Okay, so fingerprint can be used in you can use imaging of the fingerprint for forensic applications. I can also use in I've told you in the first slide, first video, about how you can use it for analysis of your in the tolls, or for the what is that, number plate detection. Yes, am I audible? Okay, so such applications also you can think of. Okay, coming to the microwave band. Okay, so when we speak of microwave, of course you have the subject this time. When we speak of imaging in the microwave band, the main focus is on radar. Okay, so why radar imaging is very important is because the unique feature of imaging radar is you can collect data over any region at any time. So radar, I think you have seen radar images also. Yes, yes or no? Have you seen radar images? If you are a movie freak, you would have seen. Okay, just give me a second. Okay, just give me a second. Hold on. Okay. So yes, you have seen radar imaging. Okay. So in radar imaging, the ability is that you can collect data over any region, anytime, regardless of weather. So weather constraint does not come, or even any lighting conditions. You can take radar, your image, radar imaging can be done. Okay, it can penetrate to clouds, in any condition. So you can gather vegetation images also. It's not only about radaring about the flight or presence of course, the presence of any enemy flight or other flights or whatever. That imaging also can be done. Along with that, the vegetation, so on and so forth. So radar imaging has got wide applications wide applications and uses. Okay, so here what you can see here is that of a spaceborne radar image of a mountainous region in the southeast Tibet. So this is like mountain region imaging. Okay, so since I'm speaking after a long time, I'm just trying somewhat. Okay, so next is the same thing. So so we are done with the microwave. So next, speaking of the radio band, so that is so radio band imaging. You can use it in medicine and astronomy. So again, the radio waves, they are used in MRI. Have you heard of MRI images? MRI. If you have heard of CT scan, definitely many of you heard of MRI also. Correct. Yes, you have heard of. Yes, very good, very good. So you have heard of MRI. So that comes in the radio band. Okay. So don't think that all this imaging are the same. Okay. So all these come in the different bands of the electromagnetic spectrum. Okay. So how MRI scan is done? Again, your past patient is made to lie on a bed, basically, which is a powerful magnet. Okay. And we pass some radio waves to the person's body in short pulses. Okay. So when such a pulse is sent, even our body reacts to it. So we will respond in terms of some ways, and using that, they capture that as an image. Okay, so you can explore more about this, about how MRI is done. So basically here we are trying to understand not image processing, how imaging is done. Okay, I think you are understanding that. So the whole today's class was focused mainly on how imaging takes place, right? Yes. Yes. Okay. So this is that of a MRI image. So what you can see here is of a knee, spine. Okay. So this is how an MRI is done. So basically, this is in the radio band, the last one in the electromagnetic spectrum. So here I'm not showing the signals loop again. Okay. So what I'm showing here is that of crab pulsar. Okay. So again, that is something to do with the astro. Just to give you a feel that in different imaging, that is from the gamma to the radio wave, how the how it looks, the crab pulsar. So something to do with your so this is covering the entire electromagnetic spectrum. So this image is of course given by the NASA. Okay. So I hope you got a great feel of how imaging is done in the different electromagnetic spectrum. Of course, there are other imaging modalities. Okay, you can use the imaging can be done using the sound. Okay, so sound can be used, and using sound also imaging can be done. Don't be surprised. Of course, you will not be surprised because you might have seen how ultrasound image looks like. So what you can see is that of a baby inside a mother's womb. So this is done using an ultrasound. So sound can also be imaged. Okay, so like that, what you can see below is that of an electron microscopy. So if I have to speak, I can go on and go on and go on. So I hope today you really got a feel of all the different bands in which imaging can be done. So hope you enjoyed the class. Did you? So I'm going to wind up for the day, and just a minute. So next class we'll go mainly into the technical feature, technicality, or the fundamental steps in digital image processing and components of image processing system. Let me check if I'm able to take attendance. Uh, yeah. Yes. Okay. So is the class fine? So did you students get a feel of imaging in different bands? Yes. All of you feeling good? So next class we will start. Okay, thank you all. Thank you so much. Yeah. Okay, we are done. We are 10. We have it's 10 o'clock. So I think I'll better stop. So be prepared. Next class you can you can explore more about the bands. Okay, so different bands, different imaging. Actually, speaking of computer images, what we see is in the visible range itself. See, even X-ray and all. Finally, though it is an X-ray, it's an X-ray images. We are made to see. That is because it is made to come in the visible spectrum, right? So though we cannot see an X-ray, but an X-ray image we can see. Yes or no? Right? X-ray we can't see, but X-ray image we can see. Correct. So that is a different thing. Okay. So that these are really interesting to know. You can really explore, go on and explore a lot. In this. Okay. Thank you so much. So I think we'll wind up the class for the day. I've taken the attendance also. Hmm. Okay. So okay, then see you in the next class. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you all. Yes. Thank you.